It's about that time of day again. My name is Joseph. It's Wednesday evening, October 4th. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. We're covering crude oil, S&P, Nasdaq, gold, and euro tonight. Crude is bearish with a wide, flat channel, telling me the most reliable selling opportunities will likely be up above the moving average using traps and buyer failures tomorrow. The S&P is bullish with a spike and range pattern, so my plan for tomorrow is to look for buying opportunities below the range using the two-try rule. Nasdaq is bullish with a wide, flat channel, which tells me the most important aspect is to focus on buying as low as possible. I'm going to focus on traps down around those lows tomorrow on the Nasdaq. And of course, the gold is bearish with a spike and range patterns. The plan for tomorrow is to look for selling opportunities using the two-try rule up above the range high. And the euro is also bullish with a spike and range pattern. So my plan for tomorrow is to use the two-try rule to look for buying opportunities below the low of that range. Boy, guys, I got a great newsletter in store for you guys and gals tonight. We got a bunch of two-try rules. We're going to talk all about the spike and range pattern tonight on our newsletter. Got a great opportunity setting up for tomorrow's Thursday session. Before we jump in, though, we'll take the calendar and put the schedule and put the plan together for tomorrow. Before we jump in, I do want to remind you the only place to watch the full-length version of this video is here on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, not to worry, there's a link in the description of that YouTube video. Follow that link, come join me here on the blog at Sideways Markets and watch the full-length version of our nightly newsletter. While you're here, don't forget, join the mailing list. I'll send you an email every evening when our newsletter goes live. Lower left-hand corner, follow me on social, StockTwits, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever your flavor of choice. Follow me throughout the week for important links, charts, and updates. And speaking of charts, how easy is that? Now you can have all the charts from tonight's video on your computer right where it says click here to download today's charts. Follow that link and have those charts ready for tomorrow's session. And speaking of tomorrow's session, make sure you grab that free pass. Don't delay. Once you finish up tonight's video, make sure you go back to the blog at sidewaysmarkets.com and grab that free pass. Come out and join me as a guest this week in the trade room. You're going to learn more with me on that free pass than you will anywhere else on the interwebs. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Hope you guys had a great Wednesday. We survived the inventory report for all you crude oil traders. Buying the dip on the E-minis, selling the correction on gold. Hope you guys had a great day out there. If you watched our newsletter from last night, you were locked and loaded. Let's get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, October the 5th. Tomorrow, of course, being the Thursday ahead of Friday's first Friday of the month. Always expect to see the employment situation, or of course most of us know it as non-farm payrolls. That means tomorrow will be, I don't want to say early in, early out, but you've got to be aware that tomorrow afternoon we're likely going to see the markets dry up pretty significantly because the big fish in the sea will not be able to risk having open positions going into tomorrow night ahead of Friday's non-farm payroll numbers. So tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning is really when we're going to get at it. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be careful as the day comes to a close, expecting volume to dry up pretty quickly as we get past that 2 o'clock, 2:30 time frame tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning, speaking of tomorrow morning, what do we have on the calendar here for tomorrow? We get some highly anticipated ECB minutes tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're trading the London session, that of course would include all the currencies, especially the euro and gold tomorrow morning. Make sure you keep an eye out for that 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time ECB minutes. And then, of course, an hour later, right about there, 8:30 a.m., we get the international trade, jobless claims, and merchandise trade from our good friends in the north. You know, we open up our trade room every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be watching that international trade and jobless claims number tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It looks like that's the meat and potatoes tomorrow morning. We got some minor news coming out later on in the day from factory orders at 10 a.m. I'm not expecting the factory orders to move the needle very much tomorrow, but I always expect 10 o'clock Eastern Time, right, to be an active time of the morning. We call it the 10 o'clock shock in our trade room because it often does, right, shock the markets around a little bit. So early in, relatively early out tomorrow. We get the ECB meeting minutes 7:30 a.m. Big news at 8:30 a.m. Right, and again, that top of the hour at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you plan accordingly, and don't forget, we're going to be in our trade room tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's jump into some charts here for tonight. We got crude, S&P, S&P, Nasdaq, and maybe we'll toss in some gold and euro to finish up the video tonight. Get ready for a great session tomorrow. Starting off tonight with the black gold, the Texas T, the crude oil futures. Crude is bearish with a wide, flat channel. We've seen this before this week. This tells me that both sides of the market are likely making money on this, and I need to focus on following that trend and selling as high as possible. Anytime we see a real wide, flat channel, the buyers can buy the low, the sellers can sell the high, right? If it was a narrow channel, you wouldn't have that opportunity to do that, right? So being a wide, almost flat channel here, we know that both sides of the market are likely going to be able to participate, which means I have to really focus on selling as high as possible. Speaking of which, if price does correct higher, I'm watching those falling resistance trend lines overhead, and I'm hoping to be able to combine that with some buyer failures and a target going back down to that low. If price pushes lower, the chart will likely develop into a spike in channel or a spike in wedge going lower. My plan then is to avoid selling into that low, focusing on bull traps and buyer failures up above the moving average with a measured move target waiting below. Looking at the chart here right now, there's that large wide channel. Now, with that said, this may end up developing into a smaller channel here for tomorrow, right? It doesn't take a very skilled technician to see that could be a channel here for tomorrow, or we may, after this real strong move down, right, this afternoon, lunchtime, right, this may turn into a spike and channel, right? So it may turn into a spike and channel here for tomorrow. So there's a couple different variables, right, that we want to be prepared for. First of all, hopefully we'll get this price up off this low. I've got my eyes on this falling resistance. I've got my eyes on this untested reversal line, the prior week low, which just happens to keep sneaking itself back into our day each day this week. That all creates levels of resistance here overhead that I would love to be able to sell with. How does that look, right? How would that look as price goes up? Well, first of all, my main priority in this environment is to sell as high as possible. So that means get above the moving average. Up above the moving average, buyers try once, buyers try twice. That tells me where their stop losses are, and I'm looking for failures into strength into pullbacks, and pullbacks, of course, going back down to retest that low. So bears looking for that buyer failure off the 2-try rule, then of course that pullback, right, to sell back down. Also, as the market goes higher here, it will likely create a bit of rising support here, right? So that may be something we are trying to trade around tomorrow, right? So watch that failure going back down in and then get back below it and use that trend line on the opposite side, right? We talked about that in last night's newsletter as well, right? So watching that potential for a rising support trend line, which of course the topic of last night's newsletter, and if you used it, right, you were definitely ready for some great trading opportunities in today's session. So as the price goes higher, look for that trap high above the 23 area, 2-try rule, 1-try, 2-try for the buyers, and then failing back down, right, to retest that low. And then, of course, we're looking for that range rotation, right, channel rotation, low to high, high back down to low. That'll be our target going back lower. What if price doesn't go higher? What if it goes lower? If it goes lower here, we have to assume there's going to be something down here, right, either as a spike and channel, right, spike, let's draw this a little better here. There we go. Spike and channel, right? If we get a spike and channel, or maybe it turns into a spike and wedge, right? One of those rare spike and wedges, right? Those wedge patterns. Whatever the case may be, whether it's a spike and range or a spike and channels, spike and wedge or a spike and channel, the strategy is always the same. Get up, look for those traps. Again, I don't want to be a seller down here, because I assume with this wide channel, there's going to be buyers down there, right? And I don't want to be buying, right? I don't want to be selling when the buyers are trying to get in there as well. So I'm looking for traps up above those highs here, right? Again, up, and then, of course, right back down we go right from there. So that's a strategy. If it does keep pummeling lower here, which hasn't been the personality we've seen so far this week, but hey, you know what? Tomorrow's a brand new day. Every day we come in with a clear chart, a clear mind, right? And a brand new strategy, right, for that day. Every day is unique. I never like to let yesterday bleed into today's environment. So that's what happens if price goes up, price goes down. What if price goes sideways? Same thing, right? Spike and range. We'll see a lot of those here today, right? We may see market go sideways. If that's the case, one try, two try, right, up above that high. Try to cover all the bases here for us, right, tomorrow. How do we turn bullish? There's potential for that, right? There's always potential for a reversal. How do we turn bullish? There are three things we always look for a reversal. One is strength. Two is a pullback. Three is continued strength. Once I see that strong move up, buyers hold the pullback to the moving average. Then we follow that up by seeing a strong follow through to new highs. That will tell me now that is my new bull channel. And with that new bull channel, I'm going to mark up that prior swing and look for that nice deep dip, right, to buy that dip going higher. Get some big targets overhead too. Get some pretty big targets overhead if those buyers can take it. Remember we had that big drop, right, earlier on this week. Remember Monday's session? Yeah, I think Monday was such a party to the downside that the rest of this week's been a little bit challenging. It's been difficult to get price to really kick below that $50 a barrel. So it's really important we stay focused, sell high, right, until something changes and we see a little bit more aggression to the downside. So focus on those traps, get above the moving average. You guys got a great plan of attack no matter what happens in tomorrow's session. Let's keep moving. How about some S&P? S&P is bullish with a spike and range pattern, which tells me to look for buying opportunities using the two-try rule below the low of the range with a target going back up to retest the high. If price keeps pushing higher, the target will be the high of this channel, and my plan is to look for the fake out, breakout, pullback pattern to buy the dips on the way up to the target tomorrow. As you can see here, we get a small, relatively decent bull channel, right? A little bit, it's a 45-degree angle. Looks about right. Yep, 45-degree angle. That's a good-looking channel there. Nice, healthy, well-fed channel, right? Hasn't missed any meals. And, of course, we're looking for that channel rotation, right? Channel rotation. We keep thinking we're going to get this big crash on the S&P, but you know, everybody's thinking so much. Don't think so much. Just follow the trend, find the structure, right? Trade the pattern. Don't think so much, right? This is one of the things we talk about every day in our trade room. It's very, very easy to get wrapped up in all the doomsday predictions out there right now. But I'll tell you, they've been calling for that for a year now, and price just keeps on going higher. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit in the sidelines the entire time? Trade the pattern, right? Trade your chart, not what you think. Right now, once again, right, we're looking for that rotation back up to the high of that channel. With that said, the most important thing right now is that flat moving average. Flat moving average tells me look for double tops and double bottoms. We don't really have much of a double top, double bottom right now, but we definitely have some lower highs and some higher lows. I look at this as a spike into a range. And of course, anytime we have a spike into a range, follow the direction of the spike. In this case, it's bullish, and then look for the two-try rule. One try, two try to go lower. Once those sellers try twice, then we start looking at, if I was a seller, where would my stop loss be? If I was a seller, my stop would be right about there. Yep, that means that's going to be our entry going back higher. Most important thing is going to be buying as low as possible, right below the low of that range. Where's the first target? First target is up at the high of the range. Where's the second target? Second target's always back up to retest that high. From there, if you want to hold a runner, I'm not sure how realistic it is at that point, right? But we do have a large measured move. If we do get that deep pullback, though, that measured move won't be as high, right? So make sure you watch that adjusted measured move, right, if we do get that battle zone, right, tested tomorrow. What if the price goes higher? What if price goes higher? You know, if it goes lower, looking for that two-try rule below that range, that's pretty easy. What if price goes higher? If price goes higher, this is where you always have to know the answer to these three questions. Who has control? The bulls do right now, right? Where is the target, or where is what I call the objective, right? They always have some objective. Where's the objective? So this is important, right? And anytime we have a bull market, right, the objective is two-legged pullback to retest the high, right? So where's the objective? The objective is 38 even. Come out and join me grab a copy of that free pass on the homepage of schooloftrade.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, not to worry. There's a bunch of links in the description of that YouTube video. Follow one of them links over my website at schooloftrade.com and join that free trial to learn more about the trading strategy that we use every day in our trade room. Also, don't forget our beginner, intermediate, and advanced classes are considered the Harvard or maybe Stanford, right, of the East, right, of trading education. If you want the very best of your trading career, right, if you want to know how to put yourself on the right side of these trades, make sure you grab that beginner, intermediate, and advanced course. And don't forget, I'm going to be here every step of the process to answer all your questions. Hit me up on live support, and I'll be there to answer all your questions. Thursday coming up tomorrow. Remember we got tomorrow afternoon. Be careful of that low volume environment. Got a bunch of news tomorrow morning early. Trade room opens up at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be executing this plan with all of our advanced members. You guys be well out there. Be nice to each other. If I don't see you tomorrow morning, come back and join me again tomorrow night. Bring some friends with you. All right? I don't mind. The YouTube is free, right? So definitely check out, bring some friends with you guys next time, and I will see you guys then. My name is Joseph. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.